Time magazine has named the singer Taylor Swift as its Person of the Year. Taylor is a music phenomenon. Over 150 million records sold over her career. That's both direct sales and streaming. Her recent tour's broken new records and continues to do so. But there's so much more to her than meets the eye and the ear. Nonetheless, let's take a listen then to Taylor Swift, Shake It Off.
Too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say.
Taylor Swift, it's her birthday next Wednesday, so an early present from Time magazine for her. Let's find out just why Taylor Swift is such a phenomenon. We're joined by Elizabeth Scala from the University of Texas. I understand, Elizabeth, you teach Taylor Swift, not actually her, but her art and what she does. Tell us about that.
Yes, indeed. Last fall, actually, in 2022, I launched a course on Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift Songbook, an introduction to literary studies using the music of Taylor Swift alongside English classics to teach literary form and research.
That is fantastic because a poem is basically a song. So are you seeing her poetry in what she does, what she writes?
Absolutely. And she uses many, many of the same tropes and figures that the Renaissance British poets used. So I'm really connecting her not with American culture now, but with literary culture across centuries.
That is fantastic. I'm actually hearing the sort of in my head now, the Romeo and Juliet song that she did. I've forgotten the title, but I'm sure you know.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That was one of the songs off of her first Grammy-winning album, Fearless. And yes, that's Love Story.
Fantastic stuff. Now, listen, what is it that makes Taylor so different? Because obviously there are big stars in the world of music, and we've all grown up with our idols and bands and singers that we like. But what is it that sets her apart that makes her so much more successful than the others?
I think there are so many different ways to answer that question. As a literary critic, my answer is probably very, very different than a current fan's answer. But I see Taylor Swift playing with language and punning is a little too glib a way to talk about what she does with words, but she plays with language in a very, very interesting way, turning words on their head and using so many devices that I think are complex and sophisticated that make her poems different from other popular songwriters. I think her audience today, though, finds a lot of relevance in the very human and just really relatable things that she writes about: heartbreak, disappointment, exultation, success, loss that we all feel.
Indeed, those factors are really important about bringing fans in, aren't they? Fans can identify with a singer, with a band. It sort of relates to that kind of success, I suppose. But also there's an aspect about it, I think, and you will correct me if I'm wrong, where she maybe doesn't take herself too seriously. In fact, she can actually sort of make fun of herself in the songs too, which, again, works really well.
She does. And I think one of the things that many of her listeners have talked about is her vulnerability, the fact that she can talk about and triumph over, but re-experience the embarrassments of her life, the difficulties of being a young girl, a woman in business, somebody struggling to become successful. And despite the fact that she is like the most famous woman in the world right now, I think fans are really touched by hearing the truth of those experiences in her songwriting.
And what's interesting, I think, is that she gets this award and she wastes no time in making a point about how the industry, which has made her extremely rich, treats young performers. Again, another aspect which kind of makes people who don't know Taylor Swift think, hey, there's a lot more to this person than meets the eye and meets the ear.
I think that's absolutely right. Taylor Swift has not only renegotiated a new contract with Universal Music that gives her ownership of her songs, but she renegotiates for other performers and songwriters. So now songwriters in general get more money from the production and sale of songs, not just performers. She refuses to allow Apple Music to give away her music for free, not when there's a new subscriber, not because she can't afford that 3 months of streaming revenue, but because young musicians can't afford it. She makes it better for other people, not simply for herself.
Hear exactly what you're saying, just to reinforce that she can take the financial hit, but she's making sure that the people that she works with, who aren't as rich, who need the cash, are actually going to get paid. And that is, I think, a very, very great gesture to make. Elizabeth, I could talk all night with you. Before you leave us, tell us your favorite track, your favorite song, and we'll try and play it for you later.
I love New Romantics.
Okay, New Romantics. Our producers noted that one down. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us. Elizabeth Schuyler from the University of Texas, where she teaches Taylor Swift, not actually Taylor Swift, but actually her work, her songbook, the whole thing, as literary criticism. I find that fascinating. I'd like to sign up. Elizabeth, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Great stuff, isn't it? Fantastic stuff. Before we shake it off, let's give you the main world news headlines here live from Paris.